Ripon Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripon Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
Cut the dark, blazing trails ignite the spark. We're the thunder in the storm, breaking free from their old norm. THT Thursday, light the flame, sparks ignite, don't play the game. Rip it open, break the mold. Truth is fire, truth is gold.
Good evening, Tin Hat Nation, and welcome to a very special Tuesday night edition of Tin Hat Thursday. It is Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026. I am Screech Scott.
And I'm Red.
And we are coming to you live from our perch high above the western shores of Lake Michigan, where we will be screaming 360 degrees of truth. We want to thank you for joining us on Tin Hat Tuesday special edition. And hope that you will join us right here on Ripon Common Sense Radio each and every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central. I'm sorry, every Thursday night normally.
Yes.
If you are listening on Rumble, you may or may not be hearing us because we were having some issues on Rumble. But if you're listening on Rumble or on YouTube and you want to join the conversation, hop on over to riponrabbithole.com and join the rest of Tin Hat Nation in the VIP backstage lounge. Are we getting an echo, Red?
I'm not sure.
Go to riponrabbithole.com. Click on the backstage 24/7 lounge in the taskbar. Scroll down a bit until you see the backstage lounge and click on the big red enter now button.
You lose your train of thought?
I did. Allow the premises, put in your name and join the fun. Just remember to keep yourself muted until the show ends, but not tonight. Not tonight, Red, because tonight we're going to open the lines because we had a big day. But then listen to the show and then hang around for some spirited discussion with others. There will be conversation going on deep into the night tonight, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Because it was a great day here at the Rabbit Hole. That is riponrabbithole.com. riponrabbithole.com. And it looks like we're still struggling on Rumble.
Yeah.
We've got the IT department working on it to see if he can find out what's going on. But if you're listening on YouTube,
that one seems to be working.
All right, so YouTube, if you're listening in YouTube and you want to join the conversation, click on the link that's in the chat over there on YouTube, and it's going to bring you right into the backstage lounge. We're Red. We've got a nice group of people here tonight. We've got Nan and Mr. and Mrs. Wichow, Studio B, Denise, Jim, Jenny, Harry, T-Rex, the man of the hour, Corey B. Looks like Wetzel, Keeter, Anita, and JCOM 1955. Reddit was a big. The week started out really good because, as you know, folks, Tina Peters was released from prison after serving over 600 days. And, folks, we had our fingers crossed because Harry's Army's been standing with Harry for 4 years now.
Yep. 2022.
And as you all know, he was found guilty
on 3 counts, three of the four
on
counts.
3 of the 4 counts, and today was sentencing, and we went into this. I think some people were a little nervous about how this was going to go, but we are happy to report tonight that our dear friend Harry Waite will not serve a day in jail.
Amen.
Which, if he technically
So it was an awesome day,
It was.
and we're going to open it up for conversation.
Well, I personally got the impression, and I know other people have different impressions, but when the judge was speaking, he almost seemed a little nervous or hesitant, but I know other people didn't feel that way. That was just my personal impression.
But Red, before the judge spoke, and I've got just a very couple small audio clips that I want to play for our audience who wasn't fortunate enough to be in the case, and the audio is not really superb, but hopefully you're going to be able to hear, because one of them is something that the attorneys for the DOJ on a couple of occasions suggested this, and I wanted to play it for you, and it's just 5 seconds long, if that.
Yep.
So let me get that up here.
He can't walk and talk at the same time. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Hey, be nice, Red. All right. Okay. So this is the attorney for the Department of Justice. Okay. Maybe.
He was all for it. He even encouraged others to do the same.
Were you able to hear what she said? It was
no. You gotta listen really closely.
It played better before, but what she said was that Harry, on several occasions, encouraged his followers to do just what he did, and she said this a couple times.
Yes, she did, and it was really making me angry.
Quite honestly, it pissed me off when she said it, because
it pissed off a lot of people.
It was a downright lie, and
exactly.
So, folks, if you're listening, if you're not familiar with this case, Harry never once, to my knowledge, ever asked anybody who follows him or his friends or people who supported what he did to go out and do this themselves. And this woman, on at least two occasions, it might have been 3, said that Harry encouraged his people to do this.
Yeah, and I never once. Anytime.
And I agree. These letters, they speak to many different aspects of Mr. Waite. Some don't know him, but clearly many do. I've never seen a trial like that. And I've never seen a trial where people stayed until 9 p.m. And I think my big misgiving in these letters was because the focus was upon election integrity and not upon Mr. Waite's character. When we stayed after closing arguments and waiting for the jury, it was beautiful. Like, many of these people opened up as we're sort of dying, waiting for food, and I got to know them and hear their real stories about why they love Mr. Waite. And I thought Mr. Stone's letter and Mr. McCain's letter spoke to that.
So I'm going to back this up. This is actually Joe Bugney. We're going to get the bugs worked out. This is the last audio I'm going to play, so this will make it easier. This is Harry's attorney, Joe Bugney, speaking, and it's just one little soundbite where he talks a little bit about the people in the courtroom, and this was big, folks, because I'm going to show you a picture a little later that will show how many people were there.
And the picture technically isn't even the full amount of people, because some people left before that picture.
Right. Not the one is outside the courthouse where we had everybody.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay, I didn't realize some people had left.
Yeah.
All right, so folks, this is Harry's attorney. It's just a short clip. I think the audio's better on this one.
A little bit, but still got to listen careful because you're a ways away.
I agree. These letters, they speak to many different aspects of Mr. Waite. Some don't know him, but clearly many do. I've never seen a trial like that. And I've never seen a trial where people stayed until 9 p.m. And I think my big misgiving in these letters was because the focus was upon election integrity and not upon Mr. Waite's character. When we stayed after closing arguments and waiting for the jury, it was beautiful. Like many of these people opened up as we're sort of dying, waiting for food, and I got to know them and hear their real stories about why they love Mr. Waite. And I thought Mr. Stone's letter and Mr. McCain's letter spoke to that. I did like the Cookie Monster, Oscar the Grouch line. But what I liked more than that was here's Mr. Waite who's willing to go out of his way for people he doesn't even know. For people who don't have a home or don't have air conditioning, he's there fixing those things. And it's reflected in the fact that people love him. Now, how do you love someone? You don't love them because they stood up to the man. Like, okay, lots of people do that, right? But they're usually alone, sitting with their lawyer in the courtroom. They love somebody because time and time again he's come up with the most important thing there is. And that is friendship, that's fidelity, and that's sacrifice. And that's what Mr. Waite stands for. And that's what, in some ways, we've obscured because the election and because of politics and everything else that kind of like amplifies things. We've lost sight of 70 years of a very good life. And
So I apologize. The audio was really poor. It was hard for me to pick up some of the audio, but there, Mr.
Well, we were across the room.
Attorney Bugney was talking about the people in the courtroom and the fact that during the trial phase they hung around until the verdict was in, and
all
how
night. Well, not all night, but
rare that can be for the number of people that stuck around. And today was
it was standing room only.
It was nice for the folks who'd been making that trip to Racine or to Walworth County. I think to hear Attorney Bugney acknowledge, I think that meant a lot to a lot of people.
It did.
Fred.
It really did.
I'm gonna put up for the rest of the show, or I'm gonna put up. So I'm told this is not everybody who was in the courtroom. Some people had already taken off before this picture was taken. So this is a sampling of the number of people that showed up today for Harry Waite for that verdict. And
I know. I absolutely loved seeing everybody there. I mean, it was pretty amazing, and there was a couple new faces I hadn't seen before at any of the hearings before, so that was a pleasant surprise as well. Um, what we really wanted was throughout the whole 4 years, we've been trying our hardest to get press, like the mainstream media press, to accurately um, report on what's been going on.
Well, to even cover the story.
Exactly.
Red, how many times have we been in a courtroom with Harry Waite for any of these proceedings where, I mean, it really wasn't until we got to the trial phase,
right,
where we began to see a little bit of media coverage.
Yeah. I mean, there was at the very beginning, I remember, because we were interviewed. I think it was at the first or second hearing? I don't remember. But we were interviewed briefly. And then I didn't see anybody since then. And then again, they started showing up. It was the final pre-trial and then the actual trial, and then today.
And that's why this picture.
That was amazing to see.
When Harry walked out of that courtroom now, knowing that he was a free man, he's going to serve 3 years of probation.
And if you can see that little metal bar in the middle there, that means they didn't even get the doors open. Well, they got the doors open to exit the courtroom, but the doors didn't get closed. And everybody was cheering.
I haven't seen any of those reports, so let's hope that they play out the things that Harry said. But it was nice to see that amount of media there to report on this sentencing phase. I wish they all would have been there throughout the trial, reporting accurately about what Harry had done instead of sharing the narrative that the elections were safe and everything's good
and the elections still are not fixed.
But today we celebrate Harry Wade.
Exactly.
We're gonna.
Exactly. The people's governor says, add to that picture the thousands of people that were not present today in person, yet were there with Harry and all. The picture frame would not be able to contain everyone, and that is 100% accurate.
Absolutely, and there are literally thousands of people across this great state of ours who support the things that support Harry through this
Well,
entire process.
not just the state.
You're right.
You have Colorado.
Beyond this state,
Yeah.
absolutely. We had somebody from Arkansas there today. We had people from
Yep.
who drove across the state.
Yep.
In fact, last night, Red, I'm gonna share it. Uh, when you and I were we spent the evening or part of the evening with Harry and along
And
with
Barb.
RJ and,
Yep.
and
And Bill Upall. Yep.
Bill and Barb, and
Mhm.
when we got in the car, we actually got a phone call, and it was a former classmate of yours who lives on the other side of the state
Oh yeah. Yep.
who wanted to talk about
Al Crow. Yep.
today's proceedings.
And he wanted to say
And,
he wanted to say a prayer with
and,
us.
and he actually, before we ended that phone call, said, "Can I pray for Harry?" And
I said absolutely.
he offered a very nice prayer.
It was
and
beautiful.
Today our prayers were answered. So folks across the state, uh, and we can't minimize the
No, we can't.
impact of
I
the
mean,
support
and
that
Al, he wants to be there, but he physically can't be there. So he tries his hardest, to support from a distance. So, and he's a great guy.
So folks, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Harry was. I didn't say what his sentence was. Harry avoided any jail time.
Yeah, you kind of did.
But he received 3 years probation, and I believe he has some court costs that he has to cover.
Correct.
But I don't know what that's going to be. But maybe we can have one hell of a fundraiser and
I agree.
Get that covered for Harry too.
I actually seen on some of the posts today announcing the verdict, or well, not the verdict, but the sentencing. Um, that was a lot of the first things that people were saying. Now, how can we contribute to this so he doesn't have to pay it? To me, that speaks volumes because, a lot of people did not show up in person and for whatever reason, but they still want to support in some way. And that's a great way to do it because they recognize what he put on the line for the state of Wisconsin and technically for the country.
It was just an awesome day. I walked. We were all a little bit nervous. I think when
Yep.
before the judge read the verdict
I
because
was.
the state was asking for 3 months of jail time along with the probation,
And
and
fine and court costs.
and none of us wanted to see Harry do an hour in jail,
Exactly. He
let
didn't
alone
deserve
3 months. And
And they were trying to paint the picture that he was a danger to society. I'm like, I thought we were talking about ballots. How's that dangerous?
well,
Maybe and when I hear dangerous, I think of a way different definition than what they were trying to
they were
portray.
trying to paint him a certain way so
Yep.
that the judge would. Uh,
And thankfully, and I also want to thank everybody that wrote the letters and had them sent in because some of them were referenced a little bit today. I don't remember the number, but it doesn't matter. It's the simple fact that that I personally think also played a big part of the sentencing, and then showing up in person and having that courtroom packed.
and it was packed, and I
And
I did
didn't the
I did
judge even recognize that he's never seen this kind of thing too, or is
I
that just
didn't
his attorney?
I didn't hear the judge say that.
Okay.
Uh,
And Corey said there was 22 letters received so far.
and I know that more of them are going to be received because I know that we
Yes.
were contacted by some people who said they didn't get it out in the mail until the latter part of last week, so they may not be in the judge's hand or entered into CCAP yet.
Yep.
The court records.
Yep. And I know some people did it email because time kind of slipped away from them and realized, oh, you know what? I didn't send the actual letter, so then they sent it by email. They didn't know for sure what email to send it to, so hopefully that got there too.
But for the record, when we started this letter writing campaign, and we did it with the hope that we could have some kind of an impact on the judge's decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I did speak to Attorney Bugney after the sentencing before he left today,
Mm-hmm.
and he felt that they probably did play a role in
yep.
some way,
and us showing
it
up.
certainly didn't hurt the cause any.
Yep. And he totally stressed how appreciative he was that so many people showed up in support of Harry.
Yes. So I want to open it up because I know a lot of these people. I mean, I don't even know what questions I have other than what did you think of the proceedings today?
How did you feel?
How did you feel going in? And
well, I think we know how they felt going out, but
well, you never know.
Maybe somebody else
if any
remembered something about the proceedings that we're not mentioning, or maybe we heard it wrong and they heard it a different way.
I never hear anything wrong.
Oh,
Red.
no, not you.
You know my hearing. If anybody has anything they want to just get off their chest about today's proceedings or any of the trial, it's an open mic night. It really is because I'm on cloud nine.
Oh, I am too.
You wanted to say something?
Yeah. So when this all started, and we met Harry, pretty much for the first time, was at his first hearing. The one where we got kicked out of the courtroom.
I met him you weren't with me the night I met him, but go ahead.
Oh, that's right. I was not with you. Anyway, so we go out to dinner or lunch, whatever it was, lunch or dinner, with them afterwards. And I was a little nervous because I didn't know who any of these people are. But we got to know them very quickly. And Harry made some reference, and I don't remember what it was specifically, but you looked at Harry and said, you know what? It's Harry's Army. And he's like, no, we're not Harry's Army. And he talked about it's a collective for everybody. He's doing this for us to fix the Republic and save the Republic, so on and so forth. And you insisted Harry's Army. Well, it kind of stuck. Fast forward to today, and apparently that's stolen valor.
Well, she should have
without
she
saying
didn't say
those
stolen valor,
specifically.
but
yes.
she
alluded
it,
to it,
and she's terribly offended by Harry's Army.
Yes.
And apparently she's a veteran. I don't know where she served because I think that's what she referenced. When I listened back, I think that's what she said. But she did say she found it offensive that this group of people refer to themselves as Harry Army to support this felon, and that's not what soldiers do. Soldiers put their
life on the line. And what the heck did he do? Harry put his life on the line.
We do have a hand raised. Jim, I believe it's Jim Spodek. It's either Jim Spodek or Julie Seegers.
Corey's got her hand up first.
Oh, I guess Corey. So Jim, you're going to be on deck. Go ahead, Corey B.
Well, I'm sure everybody needs to hear what Jim had to say before me, but as far as the stolen valor thing, one of the things that I thought was really interesting is she brought up the stolen. She didn't use those words, but she made the statement that Harry referred to himself as a soldier, and anybody who's ever met Harry knows he would never do that. He may have been described as a soldier, but he is not a soldier. But more to the point, the Kimberly Zapata. So she brought up Kimberly Zapata and how Kimberly Zapata ordered these ballots, but she used fake names. Well, let's be reminded, she used fake military names.
Thank you.
How come she didn't make a point about the stolen valor then?
Exactly.
And the other thing is, those ballots were sent to Janelle Branchen without Janelle Branchen even knowing she should be watching for those ballots. There's no security. Harry's ballots he sent to his address, and as he stated today, he sent them there so they were secured. He didn't want them just floating around going to some legislator's house or Czechoslovakia or whatever. So that point about the Kimberly Zapata ballots,
Yep.
she should not even be talking about that when she's trying to then say Harry's army is offensive to anybody who's served in this country.
Exactly. That's a great point. Thank you for that.
Go ahead, Jim Spodek or Julie Seegers, whoever
Yes,
that is.
Jim.
Yes, Jim, I agree with Corey. I think she hit it right on the head. And, there's veterans in Harry's army, so I don't know how you're going to offend them. But one of the things I think that, I kind of like wanted to watch the prosecution. I wanted to kind of see what kind of support they had. They had little, if none. No letters came. There was nothing. You have to remember, we go back to 2022, and there were protesters at his hearings in Racine. There were, the negative articles on Facebook, and the article, we were tin hatters. Everybody was a tin hatter. And it was the safest election everywhere, for years. It was the safest ever. And then, of course, as these hearings progressed, they were still there, and they were still, talking. Megan Olmetz from Republica, she was saying, how you really believe the election was, stolen and different things. And of course, we all talked, and said yes, it was. But now you can see how that shift has happened. So I told Harry today, I said, it took 4 years, Harry, and it's painful. I mean, it's painful for Harry, but it did take 4 years for the change in direction. Look at the media today. I mean, just look at that picture. Harry's walking out of there. The articles that are written, yeah, they're saying 3 years of probation, but it was a definite loss for them today. I mean, and the idea that now people are talking about an election, being stolen, and it's true. And one of the things that I'm going to just make it short is Mayor Mason, and that was really the interesting thing to me.
I agree.
That Mayor Mason was going to come there and make a speech. Think about that for a second. He's an opportunist. We all know that.
Yep.
But he was going to make this speech because it was going to, clarify the fact that he was, upset with the fact that Harry took it and shanghaied his ballot. But he didn't come. And that gal that was in there, she actually worked for the city of Racine, and she was running interference. And when she realized that crowd that was in there, and he was walking into an area where he was going to get no support, and he was going to be, basically, I think it would have been bad for him publicly, and of course the media was there. So he would have had to put this up against the media. They were going to ask him questions. He was not comfortable with that. He was in the parking lot. She told him, "Don't come." He turned around and left. Think
Yeah,
about that.
Tells me how much of a coward he is.
and I think you're right, Jim. I think I didn't know until you told us that that young lady sitting in the back of the courtroom was part of his staff or whatever it is, and was texting somebody,
Mm-hmm.
likely Mayor Corey
Well,
Mason, who
it was definitely him. And the prosecutors were turning around looking at her, because I sat right there and I watched them look at her, and I knew that they had set this up prior to that he's going to come and he's going to drop the hammer on Harry. Well, that hammer wasn't dropped today, and they weren't buying that half an hour speech that she had. And one of the things I just want to bring up, the last thing, is that the DOJ investigator that was also at the table, he had been on the Telegram channel the night before, and they referenced that Harry's letter was on the Telegram channel, and he was not, I am what I am, and I'm not, I'm not apologizing. So they brought that up. But what it says is, and they've been monitoring us, so we are monitored. I mean, we are more monitored, I think, than any group in the state of Wisconsin, and not just the hot, but all the associated groups. And just to let you know, that's what's happening. So, I was telling Harry, I'm gonna actually do a post on there and invite the investigator to learn a little bit more about election integrity, and actually come to a hot meeting and meet some of the people. I think you'll like it. You may actually end up giving up your job with the DOJ. I don't know. But
There
anyway,
you go.
that's just that's all I have to say.
and Jim, I think you're right, and I think the size of the crowd in that courtroom probably led to Mayor Mason not showing up. And you're right. I mean, that was one of the first things they said was that they did have one of the victims who was going to come in and speak uh, about having been a victim of Harry Waite ordering these ballots, and then he never showed. And I think that that is very telling. And you're right, Jim. I think with the size of the crowd and then
And they overplayed their hand, Scott. They really overplayed the prosecution. Way overplayed their hand with that half-hour speech, and this victim was going to show up. I mean, they really did get crushed.
I'm told, and somebody put it in the chat, and Jenny is verifying it now that in CCAP the judge referenced on at least 2 occasions that the victim
did
not show up. So
so it's
yeah,
part of
I
the
think
court
that's
record for everybody to see.
I think it's just great. And this picture that I see right here, I wish all of these media people would have been here from day one,
Absolutely.
covering this case and telling the truth about what happened, because then we wouldn't be encountering so many people who seem to think that, in just as late as yesterday, there was somebody who said, well, he's getting what he deserves.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
because there are still some people that are just uh,
But what I really liked about this picture here is he couldn't even get out of the courtroom because the cameras were like literally right there. He was like quote unquote trapped. He couldn't like close the doors. And you have all these other courtrooms that are up there. I don't know if they were in use today at that time. I didn't check. But then Jay Stone, when Harry started coming out, started clapping, and he looked at everybody. And I'm like, well, I didn't know if we should or shouldn't because of the other courtrooms. And he's kind of looking at us, and he's like, come on. In other words, just who cares? Who cares about the other courtrooms?
There was this eruption of
it was
applause
loud
and yelling, and people were chanting Harry's name, and
I could tell you it probably just ate at the state.
I'm sure they weren't happy to see Harry's army out there in the hallway.
They really wouldn't like their marching orders that you put up then, huh?
And Flippin' Rob, I do recognize your hand is up, but I just want to read one question that came in prior to you putting your hand up. And this came from the People's Governor. He has a question. What next steps are being considered by the defense? And can the injustice of the MyVote app be pursued? So if anybody has, either Harry or Jim, if you've got any insight into what is next, feel free to chime in.
I do know that Jay Stone is putting in a request to the state to put in a password and security on the MyVote system. So he's pushing it, and at this point, it's the right time to do that. I think they're going to find some people that are listening, and I think they're going to push it to legislators. We'll find out, but I mean, now is the time. There's first blood's been drawn, so now it's time.
Right, awesome. And to that point, I just want to say something. Now Red's going to slap me because I think she was ready to say something, but Red wanted to look at nomination papers this week.
That's what I was going to say.
That had come in. And it's interesting to the folks listening. So in Wisconsin,
it took me 20 minutes.
In Wisconsin,
look at one piece of paper.
In Wisconsin, we can go on MyVote and request someone else's ballot
with no security.
With no security, no password, no
username, no nothing.
Anything.
I can even type in the wrong word when a box pops up and it lets you go on further.
But yet, when we wanted to look at nomination papers, we had like a 2-point authentication to prove who Jenny was before she could access those nomination papers. So it's absurd that we can't have that same kind of protections for our ballots that we have to look at nomination papers, which are public record.
Right, and those are, like you said, public record. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I was just going to add, for before you guys went on to the other topic, that what I heard about stolen valor, um, I don't know if you guys are aware, but the prosecutor is JAG. If you don't know what JAG is, that's
Yep, I do.
military attorney.
Hmm.
And for her to bring that up in such context, everybody knows I'm a Marine, and it's like, your definition of stolen valor is way different than mine. It was a plea on the judge for that I feel fell on deaf ears, because you can say anybody has an army. You have an army of ants, or you have an army of this. It's like,
That's
what
stolen valor. We got to stop the army of ants.
what a ridiculous statement
And
that
you know,
she
And to
just
bring up
made.
Corey's point,
She made herself look bad being a JAG officer for the army.
and for the record, I don't think she ever said stolen valor. I think
no,
it was
she
just
kind of alluded to
it
it.
was inferred.
But to
Oh, I
Corey's
thought she
point,
actually said that. I swore I heard you say that she said
no,
that.
I said that she's alluded to it, alluded to
Oh,
like it was stolen valor. She didn't
well,
specifically
But
say that.
but she was terribly offended because real soldiers spill their blood on battlefields to protect us, and for Harry to claim, and I don't remember Harry ever claiming he was a soldier.
Yeah, he.
helped shape this nation and country that never served a day in her life, but they were part of the army that fought against colonial and British tyranny. So
Right.
that's just ridiculous.
But like to what Corey said, she brought up the Kimberly Zapata thing, and she ordered made up military names and got military ballots sent to a sitting representative. And I still maintain, and I can't prove it, but I still believe she did that to try to set up Janelle because she was sitting there trying to um, get the election integrity fixed, get the elections fixed. So she can harp about the attorney can harp about Harry's army all she wants, but then you keep Kimberly Zapata's name out of your mouth because you didn't say anything about her stealing military ballots, whether they're made up names or not. That's just my opinion. But the people's governor says, seize the moment, finish the task, hold both people and process accountable. I 100% agree. And Michelle says, the people of Wisconsin are the victims. You know, we are the victims, yes. But if you think about it, in all actuality, the whole United States are victims because they do this all over the place, not just Wisconsin. And Harry was just brave enough to be the one in Wisconsin to do it.
I don't know another, but I'm with
They can
Michelle.
request them online. I don't know their systems though. I know there was one state for sure, but I can't remember which one it was because it was a while back I looked at.
Well,
it.
I think it's interesting too that again today in her argument for incarceration, uh, the DOJ attorney again referenced the fact that Representative Boss's that the system worked. It didn't send Robin Boss's ballot
But
to Harry Wade.
nobody mentioned how Mr. Voss's ballot, after Harry requested it and did not get it, I don't remember the daytime wise, like a day or two later or whatever it was, doesn't matter. It was requested a second time by somebody else, and it went to the Czech Republic. They don't want to tell you about that one.
The system failed
So,
either way.
yeah, the system really worked,
Harry
didn't it?
notified people that he had ordered the ballot. The system didn't work, but they want people to believe this,
Right.
so that the media reports it that way. I don't know. I do want to read something.
Well, when you say the media reports it that way, that brings up a great point. When the verdict came down that day, back in March, I seen it all over social media. See, the system worked. The system worked, as in the stopping the ballot from going out, or he didn't. They tried to allude to he tried to use the ballots, and they caught him that way, and that's not the case either. So I just wish that people would sit there and learn the true, real story. Because mainstream media is not going to tell you the truth. So I got to
No,
see
they're
what the
not.
reports are today. I haven't
It'll be
looked at any of that.
interesting when we watch the reports that come down from this courtroom. Uh, the reporters that were on in the courthouse there, how they reported.
Yep. Yeah, because
It'll-
it was on at the 12 o'clock noon news today.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, and
Mhm.
unfortunately
We were celebrating.
and then we were commuting back home, so I could fight with the computer, so we could try and get this show off.
Yes.
So
Yes. It was a busy day.
if anybody's got any additional thoughts about the sentencing phase or how you're feeling now about things, please feel free to raise your hand and chime in. I mean, this is like, for me, this is a party here. I don't want Harry to be faced with being a convicted felon and not
No.
being able to vote. I mean, this is a man who, and you heard Joe Bugney talking about how this is a man who we can't look at 12 minutes of his life,
Right.
and that's basically what they've done.
And he reiterated several times his age, and he has not had anything on his criminal record in that amount of years. This is the first time, and he's trying to expose the flaws. And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't his attorney also bring up the First Amendment where he has the right to be a watchdog slash whistleblower, whatever you want to call it? I know you're not a whistleblower if you're not government, but the watchdog. You're in the First Amendment, and I'm just paraphrasing, because I don't have it sitting in front of me to read word for word. But if we see something wrong with our government, we have the legal right, according to the Constitution of the United States, to challenge it. And in my opinion, that's what Harry did. He challenged it. So they violated his First Amendment right there. Oh, Harry says, WEC could not track the ordering of Voss's ballot sent to the Czech Republic. Let's see, Nan, Harry, are you still planning an appeal? Harry, yes, an appeal is in the works.
So
Thank you.
Harry will appeal. I wasn't clear if the judge ruled on
The
the
new
motion
trial.
for a new trial. I was unclear on that because
Yeah,
I was
we're
I was trying to
unclear.
get my, even though I shouldn't say this on air over
No.
my phone, but
Yeah, don't.
I was distracted and
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what the judge said. Corey B's got her hand raised.
Yeah, I
Go
was
ahead.
just gonna say
Go ahead,
that.
Corey B. Go ahead, Corey B.
Well, when we were talking about his sentencing and one of the things that Harry's attorney brought up to the judge, and I thought it was pretty important to make note. He said, this process has been the penalty. Looking at the struggles that Harry's been through this entire time, he had a stroke in the middle of all this, and just the delay to his life. And you got to remember, he has been penalized, whether they acknowledged it or not. I really appreciated his attorney bringing that up. That's all I wanted to say.
You're 100% right once again, because I mean, whether they like to admit it or not, and they probably don't feel the same way, obviously, because they want to put somebody like Harry in jail for 90 days, and he's not fully recovered from his stroke yet. I mean, to me, that's pretty heartless, first of all. And they are trying to say that he's dangerous. How dangerous is that to want to put somebody in jail that has not fully recovered from a stroke yet?
Well,
That's dangerous.
It was ridiculous for them to ask for a 3-month jail sentence because really, and I think even the judge said there's no rehabilitation that is needed in this case.
No, and
Because I
putting
think what
him
he
in
said
jail
was,
would not rehabilitate
and
anything.
again, I'm going to paraphrase too, but I think what he said was, if you're someone that Harry loves, he's going to do good things for you, and he's going to, be his brother's keeper. But
Yep.
if you're someone that Harry may not like as well, well, you might receive Harry's wrath, if you will. But
and that technically isn't true either, because I've seen people that Harry doesn't care for, and I've never seen him like lash out at them or whatnot. What I think his point was trying to get across is to politicians that are corrupt as heck, and you're going to go after them, and that would be the wrath. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I read or interpreted it differently.
My point was 90 days in jail. It wasn't needed, wasn't necessary. Harry's been free on bond since the day he turned himself in, and the charges
for 4 years,
or when the charges were filed, and has not violated terms of the bond. I mean, what are the odds that in the next 90 days, something would happen?
Exactly.
Harry T. Rex writes, "What bothered me was the egregious misconduct by the state and judiciary." And
absolutely,
I couldn't agree more, Harry. I mean, we're celebrating the fact that you're free tonight, and you're here, be able to be here in the backstage with us. But there are some serious problems.
Absolutely.
And I think it all needs to be addressed. And Harry did verify that the judge did rule that there would be he was not granting a new trial, but this will go through the appeals process. And Jim Spodek has his hand raised. Go ahead, Jim.
A couple things. When the judge talked about, well, the prosecution wanted 90 days with no humor, so they wanted him to just stay in there for 90 days, hard time. So in a jail, and it's tough. But I mean, this is what they were after, and they, I think they had this sense of since they got a few misdemeanor and one felony in the trial, I think they felt as though they're going to go for the grand slam now, and I think it just they struck out. But one of the things the judge said, and I think it's important that we're talking about Harry's freedom of speech, and he talked about not contacting Voss and Mason in a outside of the political arena. So they are political representatives that Harry is allowed to contact. So he's allowing Harry's free speech, understanding that Harry's free speech is sometimes aggressive, but he allowed that outside of he brought it up that politically he can still contact his representatives, who are Mayor Mason and Robin Voss. So he drew the line that you can't attack these guys on a personal level. That said a lot, that really, a lot of this stuff is not picked up obviously by the news media, but it really does kind of tell where the judge's mind was at. He is letting Harry, as Harry put in his letter, I am what I am, and I think the judge recognized that.
Yep.
I agree, Jim, and I was glad to hear that, because they wanted some pretty tight restrictions. I mean, they wanted, if Harry needed to reach out to his elected representatives, they wanted him to go through his probation agent,
officer,
yep. and
get
he
permission,
would decide whether or not
it was something that needed to be
addressed with his rep.
And I thought that was ridiculous.
I was glad to see that the judge.
And you know what? Maybe the judge recognized all the other amendments that were violated throughout this whole process, but he recognized they work for us.
Well,
period.
I don't know.
We don't work for them.
See, I might dispute that he recognized any of that. I think
I was giving him the benefit of the doubt.
I think he ruled the way he did on sentencing because he knows what Harry's letter was pretty scathing, and Harry let him know that he would take this as high as the United States Supreme Court if he needed to. And I think the judge knows that the handling of this trial,
it would be a big blemish
as this
on his
moves up through the courts, it may tarnish his
as a judge. I will also give him credit. After hinting at what Harry's letter said, um, he complimented Harry and said that he showed nothing but respect in his courtroom. So, I mean, maybe that wasn't the exact words, but I thought that it was. Anyway, I thought that was nice that he at least acknowledged that he's not dangerous. He can be a likable guy. Maybe you should just get to know him type thing.
And not to go, but I am going to go there because I have to give Harry's attorney a lot of credit. I don't know him. Harry obviously has spent countless hours with his attorney and knows him very well.
Yeah, he was really appreciative.
I know him a little bit just having talked to him, and he said something to me that I don't always think of when I think of attorneys.
Yep,
Okay,
I agree.
And Kieran Mueller being the exception.
Yep.
But Joe, when I talked to Joe Bugney after the hearing or the sentencing was over, when we were standing outside, and he did say that he was a bit nervous.
Yep.
About what the outcome of today's.
Well, he said that you always get nervous because you don't know until the gavel goes down.
So he had
anything could happen.
He was a little nervous about what the outcome would be. But he did. He pointed to the sky at one point in our conversation.
And he took a bracelet too.
And he said, God was looking after Harry today, or something. And I'm paraphrasing, but something like that. And we had a long conversation, and Red has picked up these cool little bracelets that provide a Bible scripture every day.
Yep, if you tap it on the back of your phone, it brings up
when you showed it to him.
He loved it. And he took two of them, one for him and one for his wife.
And he wanted one. And, I don't always think of attorneys as being good Christian men or women.
Right.
Because of their line of work. And he showed me something. But I thought, I thought his closing arguments in the trial was just incredible. And we do have his letter because he submitted a letter as well. And I want to read
I will also say real quick, he was very appreciative to get his shirts.
Yes.
And we made sure that we told him. Well, he asked us how much they were, and we're like, just take it off his bill.
So
and he goes, well, you know what? Anytime you need any legal advice, I'll give you the Google rate.
And
so I thought that was kind of cute.
And my reply was, well, Harry's been teaching me all about civil disobedience, so I might need your number one of these days.
Yeah, he goes, oh boy, so we're going to be back here. And then he had to go because another thing that he said was, he goes, I would love to stick around and celebrate with you guys, but I have another client that is going through a heart procedure today that I need to go and support. So I thought that was pretty amazing.
So to show you what Attorney Bugney thought of the letters that had been submitted, he wrote his own letter to the courts.
Yes.
And I want to read just a snippet, and I'm not going to read all these comments, but I want to read just a snippet because
it's like what, 5 pages?
Well, I'm only going to read a paragraph. So I'm picking up. This is halfway through the letter. He said that sentiment is echoed, though not as well, in the other letters. Here are some quotes from those letters that best capture Harry Waite. Harry Waite is the most honest and caring man I know. Putting others before himself is quintessential Harry Waite. This man has integrity, no ulterior motives, and has principles. I have never observed Harry put others before himself before others. The principal reason people support Harry is simply that they love him. You would have seen the same outpouring of love and support for Harry even if he had never been charged with absentee ballot fraud and identity theft. And I won't read any more, but then he goes on to say, the letters and those quotes make clear that Waite is both a man of character and someone who is loved by many for his generosity and selflessness. Despite how curmudgeonly he can be, He is well loved by many. You don't have an overflow room of supporters at your trial, and all the letters of support that have been offered unless you are the type of person others love and respect. And that sort of devotion doesn't come from the cause or stopping my vote, but the person. People don't travel for hours, stay in hotels for a county court case because they want to support a cause. They do so because they want to support the person. As that one letter writer noted, the principal reason people support Harry is simply that they love him, and that was
Amen.
part of Joe Bugney's letter to the courts
It gave me chills.
prior to sentencing. And incredible man. Does anybody have anything else they want to? I have to put up a couple more pictures. I think I have a couple more. Oh, I do have.
Oh yeah, that one.
So first, I'm going to put up uh, the post
The
post hearing.
traditional post.
So these are folks from the Rip and Rabbit Hole, regulars, listeners, people who are backstage often. This afternoon.
Yep, and that one goes to AJ so he can see the rabbits.
The Rip and Rabbits supporting our friend Harry Waite. And then maybe best of all, because
I love this one.
This is for the Department of Justice and the attorney who was offended by Harry's army. Here we are giving you a salute.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if anybody's got anything else they want to add. Now is your time to chime in as we salute the Department of Justice for their efforts to put Harry in jail. This was just a great day.
It was.
And I know there's so much more that has to be done. We've talked about the follow up, the pressure that people like Jay Stone are going to put on. Jim Spodek has his hand up. So does Corey B.
We'll take the wins where we can, and this to me was a huge.
This was
huge
a win,
win,
and now we have to keep the pressure on them. Go ahead, Jim.
I love it. I love that. That's a great photo because it kind of says up yours in a way, and I love that because you know what? This is exactly what you are. You really are true patriots that say, we're not going to take the crap that you're going to shovel down or whip us into submission. That's not going to be us. And that's a beautiful photograph. I love it.
Yeah, I wish we would have thought of this when that group was outside the courthouse.
Yeah, we would have done it there instead.
That would have been classic to have all those people offering a salute, but it didn't come to my mind until so many people had filed out. So yeah, I love this photo, and I'm gonna carry this one with me for forever. I might make this my profile page on social media. Corey B, go ahead.
Well, I'm only chiming in because nobody else is. Somebody's got to have something good to say. And I'm driving, so I can't write in the text. I'm heading home now. But I have to say, just having the day with all of these great patriots and Harry, uh, he really gives the glory to everybody listening right now, everybody with hot government. I mean, he is continually praising others. I mean, today we were speaking at lunch, and he was saying, I learn from all of you, and he really does pass it on. He's simply the most, anybody who hasn't had the opportunity to get to know this man, I have to say he's really just the most impressive person I think I've ever met. So God bless you, Harry, and God bless all the patriots that showed up today and all the patriots that wrote letters. And this isn't over. I mean, I'm happy with the outcome today, and I don't want to rain on that parade, so I'm not going to say too much. But for me to sleep at night, I need to see him be exonerated.
Amen.
I agree, Corey, and I echo everything you just said, and
until then, we continue the fight. I mean, he's our Tina Peters.
Yes,
Tina's out. Harry needs to be exonerated. He needs to be pardoned. He needs to be able to vote again and carry a firearm to defend himself and his property and his family. He needs to be able to travel freely. He needs to be able to address anybody he wants at the Dairy Queen if he has to.
Exactly.
I don't want to have him be silenced. I am grateful for the judge for allowing, making the point, was a big point, that he was still being allowed to address his legislators, his representation. Even though he can't vote for his representatives, he at least can address them. I thought that was a big point, but he should be able to address them at the Dairy Queen too.
Absolutely.
I don't think that we're done. This army is, we're taking a pause and we're celebrating, and that's the important thing today is we have to celebrate the wins, carry on. It's always a great day when we're all together. And I have to say, I pride myself with always being the last to leave.
Yeah.
And today, Braden and his mom,
Yep.
they were the last to leave.
Yeah,
with
the
Catherine.
only
And I was like,
candidate
I
that
pulled
showed
up
up.
and said, "You guys are making me look bad."
yeah,
But it was a great day.
you're right, Corey. They were. I think they kind of hogtied Barb, or not Barb, Catherine.
Catherine.
They kind of corralled her, and so that we would leave the parking lot, because you're right, Corey. We always follow your lead, and you're always the last
usually
one to
we're
leave.
with you.
And
And
today
we
we
love
couldn't do
being
it.
the last people to leave.
I had to go to make it home in time to try and get ready
We
for the
could have
show.
stayed there all night because we had such great conversation, like you said, Corey. Being with our Patriot family, we absolutely love that time. And right now there's so much more to do. But it's nice to be able to sit and relax like we do on our little debriefing meals, I guess you could call them, and need to relax. That's our
Well,
time to relax.
and today we can exhale and we can sleep well, knowing that Harry's not going to jail. And when we
Yes.
get up tomorrow, and we know Jay's already hard at it, Jim talked about it, to make the changes we need to with my vote to protect our ballots.
Exactly,
And
because you know what? It shouldn't take me 20 minutes to see one piece of paper that's public record, and I can go into my vote, and I showed some people today the military way to do it, how to get a military ballot. And they could not believe it. They had not seen that before.
and
So they're just like, you've got to be kidding me.
today we celebrate Harry. I think June 2nd will become Harry Waite Day.
There you go.
And I'll make that proclamation, and I'll put it in
I
Trump.
second it.
I'll put it in Trump's ear, and we'll just make June 2nd Harry Waite Day, and we'll celebrate it every year. And
Tina Peters gets June
June
1st.
Harry
Waite gets June
June
2nd.
and now Harry's army will continue to stand by Harry's side as he takes this up the judicial ladder to, like Corey said, until he's completely exonerated of these crazy charges that he was convicted of. And man, I salute Harry Waite tonight. I think we're all saluting Harry Waite tonight
Yes, we are.
for the sacrifice that he was willing to make on our behalf. Uh,
And she, one more point about that. She brought up about the battlefield and spilling blood. First of all, when you're in war, it doesn't matter if you're on a battlefield where you carry weapons. It doesn't matter if you're overseas on that battlefield. You got to remember they take an oath when they are in the military or an elected official, whoever, to defend the Constitution, foreign or domestic. This was domestic. And here he was on a battlefield. And he had a stroke, and to me, that's the blood that he sacrificed. He's not calling himself a soldier, and, we're not calling him a soldier, but it's a different type of battlefield, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
it is. Red, I'm looking for something. Keep it going for just a second.
Fighting injustice is being at war. Thank you, Timothy Rantham, the people's governor. And he will always be the people's governor. no matter what. Not sure what you're trying to look up.
Doggone it. Just keep talking to Red for a second because
No, oh, I don't remember what the judge had said on that one. Um, but I do know, I'm going to reiterate, um, and kind of stay tuned, I guess you could say. Um, a lot of the comments I seen when it said that he had to pay court costs, I don't know what the court costs are, but a lot of people are asking, how can we donate, do a fundraiser, do a whatever to help pay for those court costs because he's paid enough. So stay tuned. Um, I'm sure that Mr. Screech Owl will come up with something because he always does.
what I can tell you, Red, is we are up against the hour. I'm not sure why. Oh, I know why the music didn't start playing
because you turned it off.
Shut it off, but I'm gonna. We're up against the hour. But I want to say today we had people from all over the state. We actually had a couple who flew in.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that doesn't always happen. And you got to be a pretty special. You got to be a pretty special person, Red,
in order to have somebody fly in to come to your sentencing.
So they were part of the Harry's Army Air Force, I guess.
I guess he's part of the Air Force.
If the DOJ had only known that, wow.
No, I wouldn't do a GoFundMe. I bet the news would go crazy about a GoFundMe. You know what? I've seen some GoFundMe out there that are so bizarre that some of them are repulsive, if you ask me. But I think that we can get whatever we need for Harry without a GoFundMe.
Oh, I know we can.
There's Give, Send, Go as well. That's the Christian one. That's the Christian platform. And that one, if somebody wanted to do a fundraiser on that one, I would, or at all, go to that one. I don't know what you're trying to find.
It doesn't matter, Red. I'm just gonna close with tonight by saying, Red, though, that I think it was Benjamin Franklin that said it, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong. When he walked out of Independence Hall after in 1787, when he was asked, do we have a republic or do we have a monarchy? And he said, we have a republic if you can keep it.
Yep.
And you know what? Harry did his part. Harry knows that our republic is in jeopardy, and Harry did his part to make sure that we're able to keep it.
And Harry said he's going to appeal, so there may not be court costs.
So Harry's going to appeal, and Harry's army's going to stand by him every step of the way.
There might not be court costs, but there's probably going to be attorney fees. We'll see. We'll talk to Harry about that.
It was a good day. Today we celebrate because we know that Harry and Jay and Jim and the rest of the people from HOT and all the people associated with HOT, they're going to be hard at it tomorrow right away.
Oh, I have no doubt.
They might be working on it tonight.
Absolutely.
But tonight, Harry's army can rest easily knowing that our dear friend and
our personal hero
and someone I consider to be a mentor because, well, I'll tell you can learn a lot from people like Tim Rampton and Harry Wade
and Jim Spotted and Jay Stone and
I mean, the list goes on. You could look
anybody back here right now.
I
mean, well, not even just back here, but
to Corey's point, Harry said to us today, sometimes you may think I'm just I'm quiet because I'm not saying anything, but I'm sitting back and I'm absorbing it. I'm listening to people because I learn from all of you, and we can all learn something from everybody in this backstage.
Absolutely.
And that's why I'm silent so often.
Oh, please.
Because I'm just soaking it in.
You silent?
Soaking in the knowledge.
Anyway, in the words of a very wise man.
Not yet.
Okay. I thought you were done.
No, we got to talk tomorrow. We will be here tomorrow night with a very special guest. Another attorney attorney for us tomorrow. We're going to be speaking with Karen Mueller, and she's bringing her
Oh,
knowledge
you guys
of
have got to hear it.
the Muslim Brotherhood, and she's probably gonna piss you off with the things she's gonna say, and it might alarm you, it might frighten you, but she's gonna bring it.
And maybe that's the only way to wake you up. And I just learned that Jim Spodek, or no, I don't know if it's Spodek. I'm sorry, Jim and I. So Jim and Harry are going to be on the Regular Joe Show tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
All right, so tune in to Regular Joe.
Yep.
Live life boldly and listen to Regular Joe with his special guest Jim Spodek.
I think it's Jim.
And Harry
Spodek.
Wade.
Yeah.
And maybe it's Jim McLean.
Yeah.
Could be one or the other.
Yeah.
Either way.
And then, so after tomorrow, we will not be back on Thursday because my first grandson, is graduating high school. So, is there a show on Thursday? How about that?
AJ the Rippin' Rabbit is pulling double duty this week. He's going to fill in for Tin Hat Thursday, but it might be Rippin' Rabbit Hole Live Thursday edition. AJ will be with us Thursday and Friday night this week.
Yes, and it is Jim Spodek. Thank you, Harry. So all shows are at 8 p.m. Central Time. And don't forget, Sundays, 10:30. Last Sunday, was spot on for Harry.
So fitting for
It
what
was.
we went through
Every
this
week it's something fitting to something that's going on with someone.
So now
we're
we will
close to.
echo the words from one of my personal heroes during his court hearings
when he was on the stand and getting cross-examined.
When he said, "We're going to stop wasting your time because
we have a republic to save."
Have a good night, folks. We will see you tomorrow night with our special guest, Karen Mueller, and don't forget to tune into the Regular Joe Show tomorrow morning to hear live from Harry Wade and Jim Spodek.
Yes.
Have a good night, folks.
Have a good night.